This video is sponsored by Marvel Rivals. In order to properly make a video on Daredevil, I had to get into his headspace, so I poured a ton of chemicals in my eyes, and now I'm just as blind as Daredevil, if not more blind. All I had to do was practice my punches and really listen to the city. Now, it's time for me to bring justice to the world. Ah! God damn! Daredevil is the newest duelist coming in Season 4.5 of Marvel Rivals, and he's easily one of the most hyped characters to come to this game. Obviously because Daredevil is super popular thanks to his TV show, but also because a lot of people, myself included, were wondering, what is a blind lawyer gonna do against literal gods? Turns out, a lot. Actually. So before we learn how to play Daredevil, let me explain his comic book history and Marvel Rivals backstory real quick. Daredevil's real name is Matt Murdock, the son of Jack Murdock, an ex-professional championship boxer. He grew up in Hell's Kitchen, which as a kid I always thought was a fake place, but no, it's real. New York's just weird like that. As a child, a chemical accident permanently blinded Matt, but also enhanced his other senses, giving him essentially the ability to use echolocation, like a bat or a dolphin. But unfortunately for his father, to support his now blind son, Jack was pretty strapped for cash, so he would return to boxing for a gangster named The Fixer, and would intentionally throw boxing matches for him. However, when Jack saw his son in the crowd, he refused to throw the match, and ended up winning. The Fixer didn't like this, and had Jack killed. From then on, Matt wanted to seek justice in any way possible. Later on, a mysterious blind man named Stick found Matt and trained him to master his powers, and also master martial arts, which Matt would use to stop crime as Daredevil, which he called himself to be the opposite of who he is because he's a devout Catholic. And since he truly cared about justice, he even learned to stop crime legally by becoming a full-on lawyer, opening a law firm with his best friend, Foggy Nelson. Also, he can hear people's heartbeats, so he knows if his defendant is actually guilty or not. So that's kind of cool. Daredevil primarily deals with street-level crime, with his main antagonists throughout the years usually being Bullseye and Kingpin. Occasionally, he'll deal with much bigger threats, even at one point taking on the Hulk. Like, bro, this is not a fair fight. I know you're the man without fear, but it's okay to be afraid sometimes. Daredevil's known to team up with many Marvel superheroes, like Black Widow, the Punisher, Elektra, and Spider-Man from time to time. And now he's here in Marvel Rivals. And Matt Murdock actually does have superhuman powers in this game. You see, Matt got possessed by the Beast when he fought the Hand, which is a group of ninjas that he fights all the time. It's a whole thing. And after being possessed, the spirit Yinglong was set free and made a deal with Matt to help him control his inner demon. In exchange, Matt would become the champion of the 8th city, giving Matt a new title, Dijong. Basically, he got some beast devil powers now that he controls with the help of a dragon, and that's why he can go toe-to-toe with literal gods in this game. If all that sounded crazy, it's because it is. But I do think this is a really cool way to include Daredevil in this game, with a slick new look that feels like a warrior, but still has that classic Daredevil look. Also, can we talk about how sick his voice actor is in this game?
The devil doesn't kneel before false angels.
Alex Lee cooked with this. Okay, so that's a bit of Daredevil's lore. So now that you know who Daredevil is, let's learn how to play him, shall we? Right off the bat, the first thing you'll notice is that Daredevil sees the world differently, because it's essentially how someone who is blind with his powers would see the world, and it's a nice touch. This also is reflected in his passive ability, Radar Sense, which allows him to see any enemy within a decently large radius, including through walls. So Daredevil essentially has wall hacks, so anyone trying to hide or be sneaky is gonna be caught. Even the invisible woman, who would normally be impossible to find, you can always see her, because Matt Murdock canonically always knows when there's an attractive woman around. And when Loki and Psylocke go invisible, you can sometimes see them depending on when your little pulse thing occurs. So there will be moments where they're sometimes invisible. There's no lore reason why you can't always see them, especially Psylocke, since Matt Murdock would definitely think she's a baddie. But it is funny when you still accidentally kill an invisible Psylocke anyway. Oh, no! What the heck? I accidentally killed Creo! I had no idea Creo was there. I just used the movement that I got from like the grapple. Daredevil does have another passive, Blind Ascent. He can fully run up walls, and the sky is literally the limit. You seriously have unlimited wall running. You can even cling on the wall and just chill there. Just vibe. I don't know which part of law school teaches you how to do this, but if all lawyers can do this, I might have chosen the wrong career. Now, Daredevil's weapons of choice are his billy clubs. These melee weapons do do a decent amount of damage at very close range. If you can close the gap on enemies, getting kills with this is pretty fast and easy. But trust me, you're a combo character, so let me explain his main ability first and you'll understand what I mean. Daredevil's first ability is Infernal Fury. You see, Daredevil has this fury meter that can go up to a max of 3. All of your other abilities will also increase your fury, and anytime you hit someone with your weapons, you'll gain fury. And for the cost of 2 fury, you can use Devil's Chain or Devil's Throw. Devil's Chain is a huge slam attack that converts damage dealt into bonus health. Then it turns on Righteous Cross, which is an extra bonus attack that has you swinging the clubs forward in a cross formation. The Righteous Cross also gives you a little bit of mobility, which is good for closing the gap on enemies or even escaping. So once you get access to the Righteous Cross, you have 5 seconds to use it or lose it. But back to the Devil's Chain. Devil's Chain is great when you're dealing with people in close range, as this increases your self-sustain while killing enemies. It'll be your main way to land big final blows, and if not, then the Righteous Cross will do the trick. Devil's Throw is better for dealing with people further from your melee range. You throw the bully club at an enemy, and if they're hit, they're slowed. Then you can once again use the Righteous Cross. The Devil's Throw will hit multiple enemies if they're all clustered, kinda like Moon Knight's Ankh. So if you see a group of enemies clustered, that's when the throw is very strong. Devil's Throw is great for when you're chasing down a weakened enemy trying to escape, as it's really your only real ranged option. It's also one of the only ways you can even hit flying enemies from a distance. And it's kind of funny when Daredevil, of all characters, takes out a flying character. Oh, in the air? The Devil's Throw has different utility than the Devil's Chain, so just figuring out when to use one or the other will be the key to winning fights as the Devil, and combining it with your main attack and other abilities will also be key in securing a kill. His next ability is Sonic Pursuit. You lock onto a target, and if that target attacks you, you have increased speed and damage reduction. Then, when you're in range, you can dash at that target, blinding them and restoring fury. This ability closes the gap with ease, making it a lot easier to eliminate your target. Also, if your target gets killed, this will immediately reset the Sonic Pursuit's cooldown. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it can sometimes land a kill on a weakened enemy. Daredevil is built for 1v1s, so lock onto your target and start the attack with this dash, and then spam your fury until they go down. Now, just when you thought Daredevil had enough schmoves, he's got even more movement with his next ability, Devil's Latch. This is Daredevil's grappling hook. You fire your grappling hook and reel yourself towards your target. You'll gain fury and also turn on Righteous Cross. Again, this can act as mobility to get to higher places with ease, or it can just be a fast way to escape a losing fight. You can even just use it mid-fight to get an extra Righteous Cross attack in there, but I personally love using it to chase down an enemy and secure a kill. And if it lands on an enemy, it'll bring them closer to you as well. And when you pair it with all your other abilities, you can just fly around the map. It's insane. His final ability is Objection! You whirl your billy clubs to block any frontal damage and reflect projectiles. So this is how you really survive as Daredevil. While yes, you can deflect some cool stuff, including ultimates, which we will talk about later, I promise, it's mostly going to be used as a way to protect yourself until your healers can get you back to full. And then you just go right back in there swinging that thing. It also does a little bit of damage. Now, I don't think I ever got a kill by just swinging it, but the fact that you can is pretty fantastic. Climbing up walls, deflecting things? Why am I getting deja vu? I don't know. Anyways, let's finally talk about his ultimate.
Let the devil
Enemies within Daredevil's line of sight take damage and suffer a ramping blind effect, and you continually gain fury while it's active. This ultimate affects a pretty large radius. That looks pretty crazy when you're witnessing it from the outside, like, whoa, that's a big dome. This ultimate 100% helps you deal with multiple enemies at once, which Daredevil can sometimes struggle with. When paired with all your abilities, essentially having shorter cooldowns, you can become a literal beast. It's best used on the objective, since enemies won't really have a choice but to stay in your line of sight, especially during overtime. And once you've finally gotten the hang of Daredevil's kit, you'll figure out that he has a ton of insane combo strings that can all guarantee kills on enemies. So after enough time and practice, you could finally let the devil out. Dude, that was the best ult I've gotten all day. I turned myself blind for this video, so listen to these pro tips. Number 1. Okay, so I may have omitted a very important detail about Daredevil's ultimate. Enemies don't need to be in your line of sight, you need to be in their line of sight. What does this mean? Well, it means that this will actually affect enemies looking at you that are behind you, but it also means that anyone just not looking at you are completely unaffected by the ultimate. Which means that the easiest way to counter Daredevil's ultimate is to just look away and get out of melee distance, which is much easier than it sounds. Now, I don't think it makes his ultimate bad. It's still a great spacing tool and can occasionally get multiple kills, but I do think it's better used as more of a finishing move to guarantee kills on important enemies like supports. So going for solo ultimates is honestly not a bad option with Daredevil.
No, I don't have my dash. No!
Number 2. Daredevil's only team up is with the Punisher, which gives the Punisher a blinding grenade, and it also shares the location of the person that used Sonic Pursuit, so that's pretty cool. But I do think Daredevil also combos well with other dive melee characters like Black Panther and Thor. Support mains, I apologize in advance, but life is about to get rough for a bit. I also think Daredevil pairs very well with Mantis, as she can give Daredevil a damage boost and healing from far away, and help him secure a pick in the back line. Not many characters can provide support to such an aggressive hero, but Mantis can. Also, if your supports are getting bullied by flankers, Daredevil is the anti-flanker character. You literally can see characters trying to come behind and be sneaky. So while Daredevil is great at killing supports, he's also great at peeling for supports. Number 3. Daredevil's quick melee works a little differently than most. His first melee hit will be a quick 1-2 punch, which makes sense, his dad was a boxer, but the second and third melee are a lot slower. So if you wait to quick melee cancel your primary attack between every 3 hits, you'll always come out with the quick melee 1-2 punch, which will maximize your DPS output. And since you're a brawler character, there's no downside in adding a quick melee cancel into every third attack. Trust me, you'll see how much more powerful it is this way. Give him the old 1-2. Number 4. As promised, which ultimates can Daredevil deflect?
By the eye of Agamotto, I am Groot! Fear Magneto! We are Executioner!
Still enjoy that? Woo! Never miss!
Hell unleashed! Plasma burst!
That's
Maximum Pulse!
Double kill! Yeah! Chaos!
armed and dangerous! Supernova!
Overall, Daredevil is way more interesting and fun than I ever thought he would be. Marvel Rivals is really not afraid of adding multiple melee-based heroes into this game, but somehow they all feel very distinct from one another, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. And the way they implemented Daredevil, especially his blindness, is so satisfying. But how is he for noobs? For noobs, I would say he's honestly hard to play. Like, let's be honest here, he has so many combos in his kit. Even people that play fighting games will need to practice him before getting value, but in the right hands, this guy will be a devil to deal with. But what do you think? Have you played Daredevil? And if so, do you think he's easy to play or hard to play? Do you think he's underpowered, needs buffs, or overpowered and needs nerfs? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay guys, I gotta go get my vision back, so I'll catch you later. Ya noob.